Hi, my name is Ryan. Today I want to talk about Wavey the Rocket. This game had me hooked from the first time I saw footage. The premise is that you are a rocket wearing sunglasses, and you traverse levels along a sine wave. You can alter the height of its peaks and troughs, but also the length of each wave. It's difficult but mesmerising. Wavey the Rocket does two interesting things related to what we might think of as the future tense in games. The first thing it does is provide a visual representation of the player character's possible future. The sine wave shows where Wavey will move to on the screen, whether towards coins or towards an obstacle. This sine wave is showing the player their possible future. To talk about this visual, I want to read out a quote from Barry Atkins, a game studies scholar writing in 2006. "The screen does not represent the present, let alone the future on which the player is focused. Rather, the screen represents the past of play. It presents us with a report that conveys information about the game's state that is essential to successful play. But the player's gaze actually lingers elsewhere. The player is not fixed on the image that has been revealed as anything more than a confirmation of the success or failure of past action, or as an indicator of possible futures that may yet be revealed." What Atkins is saying is that when you look at the screen as an observer, you see the game from a perspective of the present moment, looking at things already decided or acted upon. But when we look at the game as a player, we are constantly looking towards the future to see what move to make next. We are tethered within that virtual space with the ability to extend our agency into it. What ledge will we make Mario jump on? What chess piece will we move next? This future gaze of the player is not often represented on screen like the sine wave in Wavey the Rocket, but we can see it in other types of games. Take a look at this version of chess. When we click on one of the pieces, it shows us where that piece can possibly move. It's a visual representation of our intent to potentially move that piece. We can see these possible moves in games like XCOM or Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. We can see here the possible squares that Mario can move to, and when we focus on the enemies he can shoot at, it gives us a percentage chance of success and how much damage we might expect to incur. This visual representation of the possible future is more common in strategy games where players can take their time and figure out the ideal move. It's why this sine wave is so interesting. Here we have a dexterity game measuring our capacity to think several moves ahead at a swift pace. The tactical information is given, but in real time. The gaze of the player is ever forward. Brian Upton calls this anticipatory play, and it's worth taking a look at this concept a little further. When we play a game, we construct an internal model of the game system and use this model to plan out a variety of scenarios, imagining different actions and their potential outcomes. This is anticipation. We take our knowledge of the rules, the current state, our capabilities, the knowledge and capabilities of our opponents, and we use that information to imagine how the game will unfold in the future. This is a complex way of saying that when we see a Goomba, we figure out how to stomp on it. It isn't talking about the moment-to-moment action, but the tactical thought involved beforehand. We take that information of where our pieces can move in chess or how much damage we can rack up in Mario Kingdom battles, and use it to make informed decisions on how to advance in the game. In Wavey, that information is ahead of us the entire time. What's interesting though is that it feels like we play as that information, not as the sunglasses-wearing rocket. Outside of the menu screens, it doesn't really feel like we're controlling Wavey on a one-to-one basis of embodiment, besides dashing, of course. Maybe this is just a matter of perspective and imagination, but I find it fascinating that our gaze lies not with Wavey, but with the very horizon of possibility ahead of them. It's like if Super Meat Boy was constantly jumping without us doing anything, and we could only control the size and direction of that jump. With Wavey, that movement happens is out of our control. It's how we vary its parameters. We control the virtual manifestation of a player's anticipatory play. This is a fairly meta concept. You don't play as an entity, but the parameters of their possible actions. Wavey the Rocket is a delightfully difficult little game which defies categorization. It shows the player their future and gives them the tools to alter it on the fly. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, then please consider subscribing. I'll have more videos in the future on analysis, but also maybe a few more on my own game design.